the Influencers panel. I'm just here to introduce Yves St-Onge, who will run the show and introduce our panelists. So Yves is the VP Public Affairs and Marketing at the Canada S&T Museums Corporation. He's a communication expert who has done work in several very different organizations and well placed to deal with the finale for us. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Marc. And it's a great honor for me to actually be chairing and introducing our expert panelists this afternoon as the last panel. These are remarkable individuals, definitely, that will have great insights on our discussion on influencers and how to access influencers from our science and technology communications agenda. So the procedure for this panel is that I'll introduce each of our four panelists by alphabetical order. I'll ask them to actually comment on the topic that they were provided on science and technology, communications, and science and society. And then after that, I believe Marc and Gordon, you'll be presenting some of the findings from the corporation, and then the panel will have a chance to react to those findings. So I'll proceed right away with the presentations. First, I'd like to introduce Madame Denise Amiot. Denise is the President and CEO of the Association of Canadian Community Colleges, the national, international voice for 130 of Canada's publicly funded colleges. Serving 1.5 million learners of all ages across the country and in campuses in 1,000 communities. I know Denise a lot because she was most recently my boss at the Canada Science and Technology Museums Corporation, a corporation that is engaged in fostering scientific and technological literacy. Through three museums, the Science and Technology Museums, the Agriculture and Food Museum, and the Aviation and Space Museums, or as Denise used to say, everything from Holstein to Einstein, or vice versa. Denise had a long career in the federal public service, had held very senior positions in the world of HR management, communication management, program management, and on and on and on. And she was also very active. She's a passionate individual, and she actually propelled excellence in public service as the past president for of the Institute of Public Administration in Canada. She was the past vice president of the head of Federal Agency Steering Committee and was on the board of the governors of Algonquin colleges and this institution, University of Ottawa, and also is a member of the editorial board of the Canadian Government Executive Magazine. Not only she's also chairs the current ISSP Advisory Committee, and Madame Amiot has a master's degree in education and 3 bachelors in biology, arts, and education. So she is clearly well educated to this discussion. The next presenter will be Scott Findlay. Scott is an associate professor at the Department of Biology, where he has been since 1988. He received his bachelor degree from Queen's University in 81, a PhD from the Department of Zoology in the University of Toronto in 88. From 92 to 96, he was the director of physical science of the St. Lawrence Ecosystem Recovery Project, a $2.25 million eco-research program funded by the Federal Green Plan, if I remember those days in 1992, and which provided science-based public policy recommendation for ecological remediation in the Cornwall-Messina area of concern. Mr. Findlay is a core member of the University of Ottawa Institute, ISSP, and a former director of University of Ottawa's Institute for the Environment. Pat Mooney, Mr. Mooney is, for more decade, had experience in working on international civil society, first addressing aid and development issues, and then focusing on food, agriculture, and commodity trade. In 1977, Mr. Mooney co-founded RAFI, Rural Advancement Fund International, which was renamed the Etc. Group or ETC Group in 2001. He received the Right Livelihood Award, the Alternative Nobel Prize in the Swedish Parliament in 1985, and the Pearson Peace Prize from the Canada Governor-General in 1998. He also received the American Giraffe Award, given to people who stick their neck out. Wow. Congratulations. He is the co-author of, or the author or co-author of several books on the politics of biotechnology and biodiversity. Mr. Mooney is widely regarded as an authority on issues of global governance, corporate concentration, and intellectual property monopoly. Although ETC, etc.'s work continues to emphasize on plant genetic resources and agricultural biodiversity, their work expanded to include biotechnology, nanotechnology, synthetic biology, geoengineering, and new development in genomics and neurosciences. And the last speaker is Madame Vandelack, Madame Louise Vandelack. She's a doctor in sociology and director of the Institute of Science and of the Environment, and she's a tenure professor at the Department of Sociology at l'UQAM in Montreal. Mrs. Vandelack has been involved with the Canadian Commission for UNESCO since 2002. During those years, she was a member of the Commission's membership committee and of its sectoral commission, Natural, Social, and Human Sciences, which she chairs since May 2012. Madame Vandelack is also a researcher and former director of the Center for Interdisciplinary Research on Biology, Health and Society and the Environment, a collaborating center for the Pan-American Health Organization and the World Health Organization. She is an associate professor in the Department of Social and Preventive Medicine in the Faculty of Medicine at l'Université de Montréal, a researcher with the international team in nanosafety, and a member of Quebec Centre Quebec Centre Interinstitutionnel de Recherche en Écotoxicologie, a member of the Pôle Risque MRSH at Université de Caen in France, and a member of the Scientific Council of the Committee for Research and Independent Information on Genetics, Engineering, and France. She's also involved in a range of initiatives on the health, environment, economy, and ethics, and she also sits on the board of the Montreal International Documentary Festival, so she's interested in cinema, and basically that has a lot to say about science and communication, obviously, and initiated the Science and Environment section of the Festival Eco Camera. And she has received numerous awards and bursary and hold an honorary doctorate in Technoscience, Ethics, Environment, and Society from the Royal Military College in Kingston. So I think you'll agree with me, we have quite fascinating panel here and people that have lots of credentials. So I'm going to stop here right away and let our first speaker, I'll ask Madame Agnew to start.